Welcome class back to Chapter 9, Collecting Data with Forms. This video is going to cover our last lesson, Test and Process a Form. So after you create your form, you should verify that the fields are arranged to provide a logical flow of information so that the user is not confused about where to go next when completing your form. Make sure that there is enough contrast between the form text and the table background so that your text is readable. When a form contains several required fields that must be filled out, it is a good idea to provide a visual clue such as different font color or other notation that labels these fields as required. When you are finished with your form, you should always have several people test it before you publish it. So for example, you would want to bring in a user group that really knows nothing about your product or your website, and then see how your logical organization of your form actually is tested out with that audience. Then make any necessary changes based on their testing feedback. Sometimes I feel like the forms that I fill out on the internet, that this step has kind of been skipped. Like they just think they're only thinking from their viewpoint and not from a user viewpoint. So make sure that it seems logical and make sure that maybe you test it out on someone that lives in your house or maybe a friend. Let's go ahead and finish off by completing pages 31 through 33. So it says to check spelling and create visual clues for required fields is our next section. So I always feel, and from experience in the last 20 years, that technological people generally aren't the best spellers. So we can come up to tools and go right to spell check and make sure that our entire document is spelled correctly. So we can go ahead and ignore Beachside because that's their address. And then we'll go ahead and do yes again. And look, there I forgot an E on complete. So let's go ahead and change that. Okay. So you want to go ahead and run that on all of your pages, especially when it comes to coffee shop. So again, that's tools and spell check. Okay, we're going to put an asterisk behind first name, last name, and email to let them know that those are noted as required fields. Okay, and we place that in the bottom cell of the first cell of the last row. We're putting that required fields. Now, other things you could do is you could add a style called required, and you could make this asterisk red, and you could make this red down here just to bring a little bit more urgency to it. We are going to apply a style to both the reset and the submit button. So using our properties inspector, we're going to apply the feature item class. So feature item and also to the submit button. Okay, just jazzing up those buttons just a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and save our feedback. Okay, and I'm actually going to go ahead and open it up in the browser. Save, yes, that's my style sheet. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and enter in some information. And I'll go ahead and do cruises because I'm not much of a fisher. Sure, on your newsletters, drop down, let's just say internet search and looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, and then go ahead and click on submit. Now this is that form processor file. And I mentioned in the first video that it has the get method. So here's that query string that was talked about in lesson 1. So first name is the name of my field, and what I typed in is Amy, and the last name is Helgeson, and the email is this. %40 is going to represent the @ symbol, and it just continues down. But here on the page, what's displayed, and this is the JavaScript code, is all of the field names and their values. Okay, And this is just verification to say, said user, this is what you actually filled out on the form. Okay, it's not stored in a database, it wasn't sent to an email, but just outputted back to them. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish pages 32 and 33. So we're going to go ahead and link to the feedback page through the About Us page. We're going to add some text on there first. So we'll go ahead and go to Files and open up About. Scroll down. After Beachwear, we're going to type in this sentence, please give us your feedback. Okay, and then we're going to use feedback to go ahead and create that link. So feedback. Okay, so now we have a feedback link. I'll save all. I have all of the saved changes. So another thing you could test out too with the form is you could hit the reset button and notice that everything is reset. And again, that's why I switched them, is because generally people always click on the rightmost button. So that is chapter 9, your last chapter for this semester. So the next video will cover the assignments. Questions, let me know.